Here's something most people will never tell you about manifestation because it sounds too simple to be true. The reason your reality isn't shifting has nothing to do with your vibration being too low, your affirmations being too weak, or your faith being insufficient. The problem starts much earlier than that. The problem is that your conscious mind never actually chose a destination, and without a clear destination, every other part of you is working in the dark, burning energy with nowhere to go. Think about it this way. If you got into a car right now, and I asked you where you're headed, and you said, somewhere better, what would happen? You'd sit there. The engine might be running, the fuel tank might be full, you might even have the best GPS system money can buy, but none of that matters because the system has no coordinates to work with. Your subconscious is that GPS. Your unconscious is the engine. Your body is the vehicle. But your conscious mind is the only one holding the map, and if you never mark the destination, the entire system stays in neutral. Most people think clarity comes after alignment, after they feel better, after they've healed enough or raised their frequency enough. But that's backwards. Clarity doesn't come after. Clarity comes first. It's the first decision, the first act of leadership over your own internal world. And the reason so many people avoid it is because clarity demands something uncomfortable. It demands specificity. It demands that you stop hiding behind vague desires and actually name what you want to create. Because once you name it, you become responsible for it. And that's where the real work begins. If you're someone who's ready to stop spinning in circles and start collapsing the reality you actually want, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because we're going deeper than surface level motivation here. So let me offer you a new way of looking at why nothing seems to be moving. It's not that you're blocked. It's not that the universe isn't listening. It's not even that you're out of alignment, although that might be true too. The real issue is that you never gave your internal system a clear instruction. You've been asking your mind, your body, your subconscious to create abundance, or attract love, or find purpose. And those aren't instructions. Those are categories. They're directions without destinations. Imagine trying to bake a cake, but instead of following a recipe, you just keep saying, I want something sweet. Your subconscious doesn't know what to do with that. It doesn't know what ingredients to gather, what temperature to set, how long to wait. It just knows you want something, but not what that something actually is. And so it does nothing, or worse, it does everything at once, scattering your energy across a dozen half-formed possibilities that never land. The moment you get clear, everything changes. Not because clarity is magical, but because clarity is directional. It tells the subconscious what to prepare for. It tells the unconscious which old patterns are no longer useful. It tells the body what emotional state to start embodying. Clarity is the bridge between intention and transformation. It's the difference between wandering and walking. And here's the part most people miss, the part we'll come back to at the end of this video. The act of getting clear isn't just about deciding what you want. It's about discovering whether you're willing to become the kind of person who has it. That's the real test. And that's the loop we're going to close before this is over. Let's break down how this actually works, step by step, because once you understand the mechanics, you'll see why skipping clarity is like trying to run a program without hitting enter. Your conscious mind is the only part of you capable of abstract thought, future projection, and deliberate choice. It's the part that can say, I want to earn $200,000 in the next 12 months by building a digital product that solves a specific problem for a specific audience. That sentence has details, it has parameters, it has a timeline and a method. Now compare that to, I want to be rich. One of those statements activates a coherent internal response. The other one doesn't. Here's why. Your subconscious mind operates through association and pattern recognition. It doesn't understand concepts like rich or successful in the abstract. It only understands experiential data. It asks questions like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What risks does that carry? What identity does that require? When you give it specific details, it can start scanning your past for reference points, evaluating whether this new goal feels safe or threatening, and either opening the gate or keeping it closed. But if you stay vague, the subconscious has nothing to evaluate. It can't assess safety, so it defaults to caution. It keeps you in the same loop because the same loop is known. This is backed by research in neuroscience and goal-setting psychology. Studies show that people who set specific, measurable goals activate different neural pathways than those who set vague aspirations. The brain treats a specific goal as a target. It starts filtering information through something called the reticular activating system, which is basically your brain's search engine. Once you tell it what to look for, it starts showing you opportunities, patterns, and resources that were always there but invisible to you before. That's not magic. That's selective attention shaped by directional clarity. Now let's go deeper. Your unconscious mind, the part that holds your deeply embedded beliefs and survival patterns, doesn't update unless it's given a clear reason to. If you never define the new version of yourself, the unconscious assumes the old version is still in charge. It keeps running the same programs because no new instruction was entered. But when you get specific about who you're becoming, what that person thinks, how they move through the world, what they no longer tolerate, the unconscious starts recognizing mismatches. It starts noticing that the old identity and the new destination don't align, and that's when transformation becomes possible. Not guaranteed, but possible. Because now there's a reference point. There's a gap the system can start closing. Clarity creates that gap. It creates tension between where you are and where you've decided to go. And that tension, when managed correctly, becomes the fuel for change. Without it, there's no movement, just noise. Now let's talk about what most people do instead, because this is where good intentions collide with poor strategy and nothing moves. The most common mistake is jumping straight to techniques. Someone hears about visualization, so they start visualizing. But when you ask them what exactly they're visualizing, they give you something blurry. A nice house, a better relationship, more money. These aren't visions, these are wishes. They're too abstract to activate any real internal reorganization. And because the subconscious can't lock onto anything concrete, the visualization becomes a pleasant daydream with zero downstream effect. Another version of this mistake shows up in affirmations. People repeat phrases like, "I am abundant," or "I am successful," without ever defining what abundance or success actually means to them. So the words float on the surface. They never penetrate. The subconscious hears them but has no context, no specificity, no emotional resonance tied to a clear picture. It's like trying to install software on a computer that doesn't recognize the file format. The system just ignores it. Then there's the avoidance pattern, and this one's more subtle. A lot of people stay vague on purpose because deep down they know that getting specific means getting real. If you say, "I want to build a business that generates $10,000 a month within 6 months, suddenly you're accountable. You can succeed or fail. You can measure the gap. But if you just say, "I want financial freedom," you never have to confront whether you're actually moving toward it or not. Vagueness protects you from disappointment, but it also prevents you from progress. And here's what happens in the nervous system when you stay vague. Without a clear target, the body doesn't know what emotional state to practice. It doesn't know whether to prepare for visibility, for risk, for leadership, for intimacy. So it stays in its default state, which for most people is some version of survival mode. Low risk, low reward, low alignment. You can't embody a future you haven't defined. If you're recognizing yourself in any of this, I want you to know something important. This isn't about you being broken or lazy or energetically misaligned. You're not failing because you're not spiritual enough or because you haven't done enough inner work. You're stuck because no one ever taught you that clarity is a skill, not a feeling. Most of us were taught to follow our passion, trust our intuition, go with the flow. And all of that has value. But none of it teaches you how to lead your own mind. None of it teaches you that before the subconscious can align, before the body can embody, before the unconscious can update, the conscious mind has to choose. And choosing requires clarity. The good news is that clarity isn't complicated. It's just honest. It's the willingness to stop hiding behind pretty language and actually say what you want, in detail, out loud, on paper, in a way that makes you slightly uncomfortable, because now it's real. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're finally doing it right. You're stepping into self-leadership. You're taking responsibility for the direction of your own life. And that's not something most people are willing to do. But you're here. And if this message is landing, it means you're part of the group that's ready to do it differently. So here's what I want you to do. If this video is giving you a new lens to see where you've been stuck, go ahead and hit the like button. Not for me, but because someone else in your position needs to hear this too. And the algorithm moves content based on signals like that. You liking this might be the reason someone else finds the clarity they've been missing. Now I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself this. If I had to describe, in one paragraph, the exact version of my life I'm trying to create, could I do it? Not in vague terms, not in metaphors, but in actual, specific, measurable details. What does my day look like? How much money am I making, and from what? Who am I spending time with? What does my body feel like? What do I no longer tolerate? If you can't answer that clearly, you don't have a clarity problem. You have a decision problem. And that's okay. But it's important to name it, because once you name it, you can address it. The second question is this: what am I afraid will happen if I get that specific? Because often, the resistance to clarity isn't about not knowing what you want. It's about not wanting to be accountable for going after it. Sit with that. Let it surface if it needs to. This is the edge where real transformation starts. And this is also the moment where that opening question starts to make more sense. Because clarity isn't just about knowing where you're going. It's about being willing to become who you need to be to get there. All right, let's make this practical. If you're ready to stop operating in the fog and actually give your internal system a clear destination, here's how you start. First, take 15 minutes today and write out a description of the life you're trying to create. Be specific. Don't write, "I want to be happy." Write what happiness looks like in your actual day. What time do you wake up? What kind of work are you doing? How much are you earning? What does your home feel like? Who's in your life? What's no longer in your life? Write it in present tense as if it's already real, but make it detailed enough that someone reading it could almost see it. This isn't manifestation yet. This is cartography. You're mapping the destination so your subconscious knows where to point. Second, read that description every single morning for 30 days. Not because repetition creates reality, but because repetition creates familiarity. And the subconscious moves toward what feels familiar. Right now, your current life feels familiar, and your desired life feels foreign. You're trying to reverse that. The more you expose your internal system to the new destination, the more it starts recognizing it as safe, possible, and worth moving toward. This is how you shift the default setting. Third, start making small decisions as if you're already that person. If the version of you in that future description is someone who prioritizes their health, start making one health decision today. If that version of you is someone who values their time, start saying no to things that don't align. You're not pretending. You're practicing. You're teaching your body and your subconscious that this identity is available now, not someday. People who do this consistently report something interesting. They stop feeling like they're chasing a future version of themselves. They start feeling like they're remembering it, like they're coming home to something that was always theirs, but got buried under noise and fear and other people's expectations. That's what clarity does. It doesn't create a new you. It reveals the you that's been waiting for permission to exist. And fourth, track your decisions. At the end of each day, write down one choice you made that was aligned with your clear destination and one choice that wasn't. Don't judge yourself, just notice. Because awareness is the first layer of change. You can't shift a pattern you're not aware of. And over time, you'll notice the aligned choices start to outnumber the misaligned ones. Not because you're forcing it, but because you've given your mind a direction. and direction changes everything. Now let's be honest about what happens next, because I don't want you thinking that clarity solves everything overnight. It doesn't. Even with a clear destination, you're going to have days where you forget. Days where you fall back into old patterns, old conversations, old versions of yourself that feel easier, because they're known. That's not failure, that's biology. Your unconscious mind has been running the same program for years, maybe decades. It doesn't update just because you wrote something down once. It updates through repetition, through consistent reminders, through you coming back to the clarity again and again, even when it feels pointless. The people who actually transform aren't the ones who never slip. They're the ones who slip and return. Slip and return. Slip and return. The speed of your return is everything. If it takes you 3 months to get back on track, that's a slow return. If it takes you 3 days, that's faster. If it takes you 3 hours, you're winning. And if it takes you 3 minutes, you've mastered the art of self-correction. All of us in this work, everyone walking this path of conscious creation, we all stumble. The difference is whether you use the stumble as evidence that it doesn't work, or whether you use it as feedback that you're human and the system just needs recalibrating. Clarity gives you something to recalibrate toward. Without it, you don't even know you've drifted until you're completely lost. So here's what I want to invite you to do as we close this out. In the comments below, share something with this community. You can choose what feels right for you. You can share the identity you're choosing to step into from this point forward. You can share one insight from this video that's going to stay with you on your journey. You can share the next aligned action you're committing to based on what you just learned. Or you can share a personal story, something from your own experience that connects with what we've talked about here. A moment where you realized clarity was the missing piece. Whichever one you choose, let it be your symbolic act. Let it be the moment you stop being a passive consumer of content and start being an active participant in your own transformation. And here's the answer to that question we opened with. The reason your reality isn't shifting isn't because you're not good enough. It's because your conscious mind never actually chose a destination. But now you know, and now you can. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. Most people will watch the first 30 seconds and leave because clarity feels like too much work. But you stayed. That tells me something about you. It tells me you're someone who's willing to do the uncomfortable thing if it means actually moving forward. That's the identity you need to keep claiming. You're not someone who guesses. You're not someone who hopes. You're someone who chooses with clarity, who leads their own mind, who understands that direction determines which reality collapses into form. This video is one piece of a much larger conversation we're having here. If you feel like you belong in this space, if this approach to manifestation, neuroscience, and conscious creation resonates with how you see the world, then subscribe. Because every video we create here is designed to build on the last, to take you deeper into the mechanics of how your mind and reality actually interact. The journey doesn't end here, it starts here. And the next step is waiting for you in the next video.